Hello, I'm Brian, MTG Realm. Here's my good buddy.
Hi, this is John. I'm from CommandTower.tk.
Well, anyways, John and I are going to go ahead and have a quick look at each one of the 5 decks. And stay tuned right after the break.
Check it out.
Here we are with the first deck that we'll be looking at from Commander 2015.
That's right.
This one is called Call the Spirits. And we're going to have a look at them. The themes are all tied in with the primary, secondary, and the third commander.
This one here is obviously, from looking at it, it's white-black. It's Orzhov colors.
Yep.
And the mainline general is Daxos the Returned, who is pretty good. I like him. He's very heavily built towards playing an enchantment-based deck, which is what this deck is all about doing.
Absolutely. So a lot of enchantment themes with this one and using this commander.
That's right.
Now, I guess if you wanted to go all in with enchantments, then obviously you might be considering dropping the other commanders and then boosting up, replacing the cards with other like Eidolons and enchantment creatures, because that's now a single creature type.
That's right. The other two are not as heavily built towards playing an enchantment-based deck, but they are still quite good.
Yep.
They are still good pieces in a deck, and can also be used as a commander themselves.
Absolutely.
So they are definitely worth looking at if you're looking into getting into this deck. Karlov of the Ghost Council, who is the second new commander in this set, and a member of the Obsidat, the Ghost Council on Ravnica that rules the Orzhov Guild.
Yep. Apparently, I've been informed by John. This is him.
There he is, right there
in the background.
You can see his lumpy face and all of its goodness.
Now, a lot of players love this for the standard black-white gain and drain for life. Eh?
Very good build. Very cheap and very strong for what it does.
Yeah.
As you know, with Commander, when your commander dies, it goes back to the command zone, and then you can pay its mana cost again, plus a commander tax of 2 generic to bring it back again.
Right, you are.
So this can come out early and often, and really help you out in a long way if you're wanting to build a deck that uses this type of effect.
Very cool.
And interestingly enough, in addition to being a member of the Ghost Council, he's also the grandfather of the third commander option in this deck.
And here we go.
There she is, Teysa, Envoy of Ghosts. Teysa Karlov is a long-time part of the Ravnica storyline. She was around in the first Ravnica block. But most recently, and this depiction of her, she was the maze runner during Dragon's Maze for the Orzhov Guild. Which is interesting because she walks with a cane.
So. In fact, I think there's another maze runner in here, Melek, too, in the blue-red one.
In the blue-red one, Melek is the maze runner, yeah.
Well, there you go. That's a little hidden gem. Yeah.
And definitely not as focused on an enchantment build as Daxos is, so if you're wanting to play her, you'll have to tweak the deck a little bit to focus on her more creature-oriented strategy.
Right.
But she is a very good piece. She is a very nice piece of protection. She's a little costly, but she's good for her cost. Vigilance and protection from creatures, so she's never going to let anybody through to you.
Right.
And whenever a creature dies, you destroy it and put a 1/1 white and black spirit with flying onto the battlefield, which is a great piece for that. There's her spirit there, and yeah, she's a great addition to a deck. Or if you decide you want to tweak the deck to focus on her, she becomes a really good commander.
Right.
So there's
now the other
options.
token here, which was created by
Daxos
here,
right.
and that's the XX, isn't it? Eh?
That is correct. Yeah. Its power and toughness are equal to the number of experience counters you have.
And here is the lovely experience counter token card. You go ahead and drop your dice on.
And his mode for gaining experience is whenever you cast an enchantment spell, you get an experience counter.
Yeah, that's good.
And this deck is full of them. Now, some of the ones that I think we should probably take a look at here, well, we have the Here's a card with Myriad, which is the new
one of the new techs here.
The new ability that lets you, when you're attacking with this, if you have multiple opponents, you put a copy of it into play, attacking each other opponent that's not being attacked by the main one.
And these could essentially really come right out of nowhere. Now, those do get exiled at the end of turn.
They do, they do.
When I saw this, I immediately wanted to play the combo with Sanguine Bond and I can't remember the other one, the Blood.
Yeah, I can't remember the name of it either.
What other good treats do we have in here?
Okay, well...
these are some of the new cards.
Well, let's mention briefly this thing. This is an interesting card, the Bastion Protector.
Right.
2 and a white for a human soldier that's a 3/3, so entirely on what it needs to be doing.
Sure.
But the thing that's interesting about it is commander creatures you control get +2/+2 and have indestructible. This is the first time that it's specifically mentioned a commander creature as an aspect of its nature as the choice.
Beyond the particular ability of the commander, or sorry, the general or the commander itself, eh?
Now, I feel like we should probably take a look at the confluences. There's one of each of these in each of the decks. Each one gets one of a specific color.
And now we have 3 modes, essentially, for each of the confluences.
That's right. This one is interesting. It's... you choose 3, and you can choose the same mode more than once.
Right.
The modes are put a 2/2 white creature with vigilance onto the battlefield.
That's all right.
Exile target enchantment, or you gain 5 life.
Yeah.
So you could opt to pick one of each of those. You could put 2 dudes out and exile an enchantment.
Yeah.
You could gain 15 life, although that's not as good in Commander as some other options because there is still Commander damage to consider.
Right, right.
There's definitely a lot of options with these types of spells, and it's really interesting that it allows you to choose the same mode more than one time.
Gotcha.
And just a couple more things to look at here briefly. Deadly Tempest is an interesting spell. Destroy all creatures, and each player loses life equal to the number of creatures he or she controlled that were destroyed this way.
Gotcha.
It is 6 mana, but it's quite a good...
that is a nice board wipe.
Board wipe spell. And also briefly, I wanted to make mention of Grasp of Fate. When it enters the battlefield, for each opponent, exile up to 1 target non-land permanent that player controls until it leaves the battlefield. So it's an O-ring that hits 1 thing for each opponent you have for 3 mana, which is really interesting.
Great multiplayer.
Well, it's really interesting because when you're playing something like O-ring or something else like that, the player that controls the card you've exiled with can just easily blow up the O-ring and get back cards that they're looking for.
Right.
But with a card like this, they have to consider, if I blow this up and get my creature back, I'm also getting back all of the permanents that were exiled from each of the other players.
All right. And anything else that really stands out?
Well, there is one card that is a reprint in this that has come back from before, and that's Karmic Justice.
Great enchantment.
We've seen this a couple times, but it is a very good card. Whenever a spell or ability an opponent controls destroys a non-creature permanent you control, you destroy target permanent that opponent controls.
Yep.
So,
well, you know what? It really does sound like a boomerang now, doesn't it?
It's especially if you can keep this defended. If you have a way to defend your enchantments, which you can definitely get. There are definitely options.
Right.
For doing things like that. Karmic Justice, if it stays out and does work, it really puts the pressure off of you as a target because it means that people have to focus on other things.
Right, you are. Nice. All right. So, lots of tokens, and they are double-sided.
That's really interesting that they've double-sided the tokens in these.
Yeah, and hopefully you don't get caught where there's a single token that you need, and then there's another single token on the other side. It probably won't work out that way. And again, all your lands are covered. Temple of the False God, Command Tower, and whatnot. One of my first upgrades, I'm going to probably go ahead.
You found them.
Put that in there. Sanguine Bond and Exquisite Blood.
There you go.
Because I absolutely love the enchantment theme that's going on in this. All right, anything else?
No, I think that's it. Definitely a lot of good options in here. and the different commanders really do allow you to build it in a few different ways. So it's definitely worth looking at if you're interested in this color combination and this theme.
Absolutely wonderful. Anyways, look for our other videos, which are on the channel.
See you again.